There's a lot of bells, whistles, horns, buzzers, I don't know what all, but there's a lot of racket. Their security system is what it is. You don't get anywhere near my dad's house. The lights flash, and I mean, it's just horrible. So anyway, when this cat came up on the front porch at 2:30, at 2:31, as the story goes, the whole block, pretty much the lights were on all the apartments. People were coming down wondering, what in the world is all that noise? 11732 Riverside Drive. It's that man down there. So anyway, I saw that cat. I didn't see him this time. About 3 years ago I was out here, I saw him around some trash cans at the liquor store in the corner. It's not a normal cat anymore. But anyway, my dad's a lot of fun. And he's very interesting, and I've been blessed to have him for a father. And appreciate all the things you've done, Dad, in my life, what you meant to me. And glad that you've been here for 90 years, sharing my life, my life during that period of time, some of that period of time. And but anyway, I just remember my mom and dad being people that were there, that loved us, and I've been very, very blessed to have them, and thank you very much for being my parents.
Julie?
I'll have my toast early. Good champagne. I had a speech written, but I kind of remember what I was going to say. First, I want to thank my brother Russell and his entire family for flying out from Georgia to make this event. That's almost a double treat for all of us in the family. So thank you so much. And Aunt Rosalie, we love you too, and all the friends. And I especially want to thank my niece Kelly, who did those beautiful cakes. They're just beautiful. Yeah, she did a great job. She does all her cakes for every family event, so that's and of course I want to thank Sharon and Joan and Denise. I mean, Tommy J. Kitten. I'm sure we'll hear about her. Anyway, I guess when I was thinking about what I wanted to write or say, I just want to remember, what I remember most is my mom sewing. Joan and I always had the cutest matching outfits. And I especially remember one Christmas that my mom did Barbie wardrobe to match our clothes. Yeah. I mean, our Barbie dolls were dressed like us. That's pretty neat, and then I remember the traveling that we got to do. We didn't have money, but we traveled across the country. My dad was a good provider, obviously, to allow my mom to stay home and for us to travel. We went to New York. We went to I believe, the New York World's Fair. And at that World's Fair, Disney had put in, at the World's Fair, It's a Small World. So we saw It's a Small World before it was moved to Disneyland, which was really kind of neat to see all those dolls. And my dad, let's see, I think I remember my dad, because he worked most of the time, it was a little harder to think of, what to say about my dad. But I think what I remember is, like, early in the morning on a Saturday, he would pick up or wake up one child and take that one child up to the Savas Cafe for breakfast. And then we would go target shooting. So that kind of went together. Breakfast and target shooting. And let's see, and then I guess I'm just thankful that I'm thankful that we still have them here. You know, I talked to so many people, and, you know, even planning for this party, you know, it was like, what kind of party are you planning? I go, well, both my parents are going to be 90. And they go, both your parents are going to be 90? It's like, that's just not normal, you know? And then I thought, okay, well, that's our family. Oh, and then there was one other thing I wanted to say about my mom, and this is really what I did have written down, and then I'll leave the podium. Because this was kind of funny. I put down that the reason we were so healthy is because of the way my mom cooked. My mom cooked healthy food, and we had 7 people in our family, and you had to sit down to the dinner table. Now, I never really wanted to go to the dinner table because my mom's food stunk. I'm sure it was healthy, but it still stunk. You know, I mean, we had like chipped beef in white sauce over toast, or navy beans, something that you couldn't put enough ketchup on to kill the taste. And then it was like, we would sit at the dinner table and like gag at our food, you know, because we couldn't stand to eat it, you know, but we had to look at it. And if we were hoping for one of two things. Russell would be extra hungry, and he would eat our food. Or a dog would run by so we could, you know, scoop it off to the dog. And if none of those two things happened, then we would have to sit there at the table for probably at least an hour. And afterwards, we would promptly be dismissed from the table and get to go to bed. So that's the way it was back then. That's different than it is today. And my kids, needless to say, never ate any vegetables. They didn't eat any navy beans or chipped beef on toast. They ate all the good stuff. And anyway, I just want to say thanks, Mom and Dad, for having 5 kids that are decent, you know, hardworking successes, and I think that's what we are. So that's a lot to be, that's your credit. That's credit to you for us. So thank you very much.
Well, I lost them.
Yeah! It's a family tradition!
Did you guys look on your tables, and maybe they're on your tables? I know they're on one of these tables. Oh well, I don't need my notes. I know what I'm going to say. I would just like to thank my mom and dad for making it 90 years. Not it, Robert. For making it 90 years. That's 9 decades. That is a long, long time. And I'd just like to thank you. I'm sure you've seen many changes in this country and in the world and the accomplishments that we've made over the lifetime. First of all, I think I'd like to honor my mom. My mom, like you all know, sewed. I can remember the beautiful dresses that she would make for Aunt Julie and I. We would go to school. We always had the prettiest dresses. They always had the biggest bows. And they also matched, which of course meant got to wear the same dress for 4 years in a row. I would get the hand-me-downs. They were beautiful, and Mom made them all. And of course that is just a fashion faux pas. You wouldn't want to do that nowadays. Another thing I can remember quite well about my mom is fixing my hair. We lived literally across the street from New Hall Elementary School. I was late every single day to kindergarten. My mom combed every tangle out of my hair. And my hair, when I sat down in a chair, would hit the chair. So it was way past my, what was a smaller behind at that time. She would comb my hair, and then she'd say, "Joan, put your head back." tip your head back further, and we'd have to wear a really, really high ponytail. And then she braided it, which I could never figure out why it was always in a braid after you comb and comb and comb, and then it was in a braid. But that's the way it was all the time. And then my mom, Halloween, always made our Halloween costumes, never store-bought. Always won the prizes. We were always the best Halloween costumes, which is still something that, well, I don't do it anymore. I quit like 2 years ago, but I made them for my children and I made them for our grandchildren as well. And that's because of Mom. Now, I don't know why Joya didn't think my mom was a good cook, but personally, the navy beans, that was my favorite meal. I love the navy beans, and then we put the ketchup on it, and then we put a little bit of onions on it, and that was very, very good. Now, I just tried recently, probably within the last year or so, trying to recreate that, and I don't know, it's not Mom's cooking, so it didn't turn out quite right, but it was quite good, I thought. And along with the pot roast. Mom would make the best pot roasts. Of course, no crock pots. Not in that time. You didn't use crock pots. It was slow cooked with the potatoes and the carrots. I can also remember the Valentine's Day cookies that my mom would make for us. She had these little heart, it was a little heart box, and she would roll out the dough and make the cookies and take it to Joya's in my class. Actually, she made them for all of the kids in our class. I couldn't imagine taking the time to roll out that dough and make those cookies. And then not only did she do that, but she wrote each child's name on each individual cookie that we would hand out. And that was always a real proudful moment for me when I got to hand those out to my friends. That is not a tradition that I carried on. And I must say, thank goodness for bakeries nowadays, because that would be way too time consuming. Now I'd like to speak a little bit about my dad, and like Joya had said, I remember my dad worked. He worked a lot. But I do remember that the motorcycle. I guess we all rode that motorcycle. But I would hear my dad start that up on a Saturday, and I would run outside, and he put me on the front, on the gas tank, so you could hang on to the handlebars, and you'd buzz on down Chestnut Street. No helmet. That was non-existent. And you would sit and you'd go for a quick little ride. And then as time went on and I got older, then you got to ride on the back of the motorcycle, and I remember going on rides with Dad. And I remember Dad saying, "Joni D, lean with the motorcycle when you turn." And I never could figure that out, so I was leaned the opposite way. But they were a lot of fun times. We had a lot of good times. My dad was a man who always tinkered in the garage, repaired things. So, according to Joya, we didn't get new bicycles too often, but he would always take the old bicycle and he'd paint it and make it look brand new. I got a new bike. So I don't know what that was about, but I remember my brand new bike that I got. And it was really a beautiful blue, shiny bike, and I had a great time on it. I can remember as well a trip. Well, I'll go to the changing the tire. Joya had her car, so we were, well, she must have been 16 and I was probably 14. And I don't know if it was the 55 Chevy or the 56 Chevy, but the tire was flat, and we wanted to take off. We wanted to go somewhere. So we got my dad and said, "Dad, you need to change the tire." So he takes us out to the front, and he jacks the tire up, and he takes the lug nuts off, puts the new tire on, lets the jack down. And I go, "Oh, good, great, we're good to go." We watch, and he jacks the tire up, and he takes the lug nuts off, and he puts the old flat on, and he puts it back down, and he says, we look at him, and he goes, "Well, if you got stuck somewhere, you'd have to know how to change that tire." So get going. So he watched, we changed the tire, and we were successful, and we made it, and thank goodness for Auto Club. I'm not changing tires anymore.